You ever had a prophetic dream? I've had a few in my life. That's why I'm so interested in things like mental telepathy, remote viewing, spirituality. I've taught people how to remote view. I've taught people how to heal themselves because I just find it so fascinating that there was this whole other level of consciousness that you can go to. And it's mystical, it's magical, it's fascinating. Um, I don't know why everybody isn't interested in it, but that's just life in the 3D world. This is a classroom, but let me tell you about some of the dreams I had that were prophetic. Many years ago, I was in Osaka, Japan on a layover, had a vivid dream. I used to call them my real dreams. Had a dream of a big airplane flying around in a circle almost. And there was something wrong with it. Everyone was looking at it going, it's not good. And sure enough, the next day, United Flight 232 landed in the cornfields of Sioux City, Iowa. In my dream, there was something about the nose of the airplane. Now, that was a hydraulic failure. It was a DC-10, but the pilots were all balled up in the nose of the airplane. That's where they found them after it crashed. And so that was kind of interesting. Now, another time I was in Dubrovnik with my mother on a vacation in what used to be called Yugoslavia. They've changed the name since the war. This was in the 1980s. It was beautiful there, gorgeous place, and very peaceful when I was there. But I went to sleep in the hotel and I woke up and I told my mother, who was in the bed beside me, I just had the most horrific dream. It was a bloodbath in Belgrade. And it was such a nightmare. I mean, it was horrifying. She said, I had a similar dream. Sure enough, a few years later, that awful war broke out and they had a bloodbath in Yugoslavia. It was bad. Now, my question is, have these things already happened? Have they been set in motion? And when you're in intuitive, you pick up on it? Yes, I think there are certain timelines that are in place that you almost, maybe you can't avoid them. They're heading in that direction, whether you like it or not. I know I'm very good at reading tarot cards for people and telling them things about themselves because I go into the alpha level and I pick up on their energy, things that are happening around them. There was a time when people would get on the airplane and I could actually see symbols around their heads, their occupation, their age, their name even. And it didn't last forever. I mean, it happened for a certain period of time. Sometimes these things come and go, you know. But I've studied all of these things because I just find it so fascinating to figure out how to use more of your mind in order to be intuitive and find that inner peace that passes passive understanding. You can tap into that. Once you understand that your higher self is working with you. Many times I've been lifted out of a bad situation, protected. A voice has told me what to do at different crossroads in my life. A male voice. It's always over on the left side. And I think it's a guide who tells me what I should be doing next. And it's always accurate. It always tells me information that I need to know. And it turns out to be things that I wouldn't even think of. It tells me what I will be doing. So there you go. Is it already pre-planned? I don't know. I think we have a certain amount of free will as far as how we react to events that come up in our lives. But maybe that's all the free will we have. Maybe it's already set in stone. Maybe there is no time and we're already living our lives and all we have to do is get dressed and show up because whatever will be, will be. Now, in the winter of 2001, I had a series of horrific dreams. And I've seen other people on the internet talking about a similar experience. people that have had near-death experiences have been told things are going to get pretty dicey here on the planet, because humans have been moving in kind of a negative situation. It was very clear to me when I became a stewardess in 1967 that America is very advanced technologically. Even back then, we had the biggest bombs, the best airplanes, you know, the best of a lot of things. Everybody wanted to be part of our culture because we were the leaders. And that's a good thing, but you need to be emotionally developed and spiritually developed to handle a lot of things that are a double-edged sword. We know that. So this 3 nights of dreams that I had showed me some pretty horrific scenes, which I hope don't play out. But I have heard these other people talk about how these things could happen. There's always changes going on the planet, right? But if you look at it like this, you're in a classroom, and whatever happens, it's not what's happening, but it's how you're reacting to it. This is why perception is everything. You can be in the midst of terrible things sometimes, and if you can rise above it or go within and be a leader or an observer, you can sometimes transcend really, really crazy things. And that's, I think, one of the biggest lessons we get while we're here on planet Earth is, how are you going to react? Are you going to be fearful, or are you going to trust that you are sovereign? God is within you. You have the power within you to get through anything. That's always the big test. Some of us get bigger tests than others. I flashed once on what I feel was a past life, an immediate past life, where I was badly burned, waiting for a doctor to come and save me. And it didn't happen. I passed on in this hot, steamy little room. Well, I made up my mind in this life to figure out how spiritual healing works. And I did. I set myself up with a very bad diagnosis. Doctor wanted to do surgery. I didn't want that in any way, shape, or form. So I went the spiritual route. I had a spontaneous healing. And I spent the rest of my life trying to figure out how that happened. It was like going to a different level of consciousness. And I stayed there for 3 solid days. I was in an altered state. And the effects of it lasted a lifetime. So you can have negative experiences and use them as stepping stones to go to a higher place, a better place. And that's why the classroom is a very good place to learn your lessons. Take advantage of it while you're here. You never know what tomorrow's going to bring, but whatever comes up, be strong and get rid of your fear. You know, if you stand up to fear, it will dissolve. It will melt away. That's one of the things I've learned. Facing your fears is very, very key to learning your lessons while you're here. Go to my website, rebeccatripp.com, and you'll see that I have courses. I have a book that I wrote, and I've got another book coming out soon. So sign up for my mailing list, and I'll let you know about it. It's going to be all about manifesting.